What's up, turkey?
What's up, stupid? Sometimes the most simple insults are the best.
I know, I don't feel stupid today.
Why not? Did you do something smart?
I don't know.
Doubt it.
I worked all day.
Oh my goodness gracious, one day of work.
Oh, fucking K. I work way more than you work.
No shit. I'm an old man. I'm retired.
You are not retired. You never started.
What?
What?
What do you mean? What was your first job?
I worked at a skate shop. Then I worked at a skate park.
Oh,
Then
at your first job. How old were you at your first real job?
16.
I worked way longer than you. Ugh. You never had a paper route and shit like I did when I was 12 years old?
No. I didn't grow up in 1957.
Back when there were such a thing as newspapers.
I know. What the fuck is a paper route? Do you want me to deliver milk to people in glass bottles?
Me standing on the corner, extra, read all about it. Hindenburg crashes, huge loss of life. Just a single halfpenny for the latest news.
Stop. We need a different podcast with you doing that voice the whole time.
Extra, Howard Hughes, world's richest man, dies. Read all about it. One shiny nickel.
We have to have that loud typewriter noise too, like tick, 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 tick. And that weird little bulletin noise, that boop, 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 boop.
Transatlantic liner lost at sea. 130 people. No lifeboats allowed.
That's the best one. Wait, we have to do fake world news in our episodes now.
But they always did. If you ever watch those old film serials, they always do stuff like, a tragedy like no other, but this fine young puppy made it home. And then they show like a picture of like someone carrying a dog.
And it has like a ribbon on, like a prize ribbon on for no reason.
Yep. Never before has there been a ticker tape parade except for this dog which survived the plane crash.
Oh my God, that's the best. I want to do this the whole episode.
No.
You'd have to do one about like a lady that has like a prized huge tomato.
Clintonville, Montana. Mrs. Jordan Shepley shows off her world-class tomato, the largest in the world. See you next year, Mrs. Shepley.
Try and beat that one. Oh, I love this. We're going to do this on road trips now.
Do you know that back then, like if you watch movies and films and newspaper broadcasts, the reason that people used that voice was because when you recorded sound, they didn't know how to record the low end of sound. So like my normal speaking voice, which is normally way down here, wouldn't show up. So they had to pitch everybody up. And then all of a sudden you got everybody talking like that.
I like that voice.
That's why it was such a big deal when they got better sound quality and you could get people like Humphrey Bogart who had like deep voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
Not too much. I made myself vegan chili dogs with tater tots for dinner.
That sounds really good.
And that's about it. Really, I made curtains today.
Oh my God.
I know. Need that sewing machine.
I know. When you told me that, I was like, oh, I worked all day long. One of my clients brought me 5 boxes of masks with 50 masks each, 250 masks.
Wow.
I know. So I'm going to put some of those in the car because you never have your mask. And she's in dental school right now. And I guess she must have told me at her first appointment. And I'm sure I said, give me some teeth or like, give me a tooth mold or like, give me something weird. And so we're working on her today. We were doing her brow touch up and I said something and she's like, oh, I forgot your teeth. And I'm like, what? She goes, I've been saving you teeth. So she stole some fucking teeth and put them in a jar, and she's gonna give them to me.
I have all the teeth they've ever pulled out of my head, or the ones that have broken and fallen out, or the ones that I've pulled out. You ever pulled out one of your own teeth?
I mean, when I was little, I did, not like fucking 3 days ago.
No, I mean like maybe 10 years ago, I broke a molar and I had a big piece of it still in the back of my mouth. So I just drank a bunch of vodka and then got a wrench and pulled it out of my mouth. It was bad. But then when I went to the dentist was like, "Oh, what dentist did you go to? Who pulled that tooth?" And I was like, "I did." And he was like, he was like, "You did a good job."
He was like, not even murdery at all. No, but it's even creepier because she's going to give me a jar of other people's teeth.
Yeah.
Like, if I get caught for a murder, they're going to be like, and what the fuck is this?
I don't know if you've ever seen all the teeth at my house, but I was at a garage sale like 15 years ago, and there was this lady was selling all these old tins. Mm-hmm. And there was one of them that was like twice the size of an Altoid, and when you shook it, like you could hear something inside of it, but it was rusted shut. And I was like, what's in this? And she's like, I don't know, probably pills or something. And so she sold me the whole lot of all these tins for like $3. And then I got home and I opened up the one tin and it was full of teeth.
Ew. That's a murderer's tooth box. That's the name of this episode, Murdery Tooth Box.
Murdery Tooth Box. It's like, but they were all baby teeth. You could tell like a grandmother had been saving baby teeth from like generations of people. Because that was the same. That was the same estate sale where they had the cigar box that was full of umbilical cords.
What? Come on.
Yeah, saving the baby's umbilical cords. Little pieces of bacon in this cigar box.
Speaking of which, and not in a gross way that you just put us into, but my brother had a baby last Friday the 13th, so now I'm an aunt, and I became an aunt on Friday the 13th, and I feel like, I don't know how, but I feel like I made that happen. Like, it needed to be spooky. They named their baby Jackson, so I'm an aunt. I'm going to be the spooky aunt. I'm going to show the kid its first horror movie and take it skateboarding.
Yeah. It's fun to be an aunt or an uncle.
I don't like kids at all, but I'm going to do my best.
I like kids, and, you know, I worked in schools and was a parapro and drove a school bus and custodian. Like, I worked around kids, and I liked kids, but when my nephew was born, I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to be a babysitter. Like, I'm the weird uncle now, like truly a weird uncle to somebody. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of awesome. We just watched a lot of TV and played games, and I showed him his first Godzilla movies and his first Ultraman movies and got him interested in animation and stuff. And now the fact that he like majors in Japanese and wants to go to Japan, I feel like I imprinted really early a strangeness in him.
I'm sure you did. And he's really smart.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't babysit for a while, though. Like, I feel like I don't want to babysit until it's like 7.
Yeah, I don't think I babysat until my nephew was like 3.
Yeah.
3 or 4. I think by the time I babysat my nephew, he was potty trained.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know how to do that stuff.
So I was like, I got the total easy end. Like, he was already talking and walking and knew when he had to go to the bathroom and stuff.
Yeah, I can handle that probably.
Yeah. And so like when I babysat, it was because my like brother-in-law and sister would go out to dinner. So it was only like 3 hours that he was awake, and then he'd go to sleep at like 8.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something funny? I was on the phone with my brother the other day because
I'd love to hear something funny from you who is never funny.
So the day before they knew the baby was coming because she was going to have a C-section. So I texted him on the Thursday before, and I'm like, congratulations, it'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then he writes back something like, okay, for big events in life, you can actually call me Wiener. And I'm like, you're right, got me there. So I just didn't even answer, and I called him. So we were on the phone. You know how I shorten literally every word in the English language?
Yep.
So I either shorten it or I add an S. Like when we say turtles, we say tarts, or we'll say like when we get bagels, we say we're going to get bags. When we say Patreons, what's up, Pates? Like I shorten everything. And me and my brother have done that shit since we were little, or we'll put like an S on the end of stuff. And I know you make fun of me when I say the Del Tacos, but that's how we talk. I just put, it's a whole thing. But anyway, but sometimes I'm like, did I make this up in my head? Me and my brother didn't used to do this, and I just do it by myself. So anyway, so we're on the phone the other day, and he's telling me that he's been listening to all the Dateline podcasts, and I'm like, I've been doing that too. So he told me about one, and I had never listened to it before, and I was like, have you ever seen that story about that guy? They're like in California, and he has like this wife, and while he wasn't home, his child, not her child, died, like fell off this banister and died. And then supposedly she felt such guilt from it that she like killed herself like 2 days later. But before she killed herself, she like got naked and put herself in all of these bondage knots apparently and threw herself off the balcony. And everybody thinks it's a murder. Everybody thinks it was like his sketchy brother killed her. Because so I get done explaining it. I'm like, why would you get naked? Whatever. So I'm like explaining it to my brother, and he's like, yeah, who would get naked and commit suicide? I was like, I start laughing. I'm like, this is why I do it. Who shortens the word suicide? He fucking said Sua on the phone, and I was like, this is it. This is why we do it.
Sua.
So I was like, oh my God, I was like cackling. I'm like, yep, this is what we do. This is how we've always talked. So I felt really validated in that moment.
Well, speaking of murdery shows and hearkening back to the opening of old time movie reels, I listen to a lot of old time radio shows.
Mm-hmm.
I found an old time radio show that's true crime stories.
Cute.
It's like from the 1940s, and they tell true crime stories from like the 1700s.
What is it?
It's called, I'll have to look it up. I have it saved, but it's called like the guy who hosts it, it's his name and then True Crime. But I was listening to it last night, and they were telling the story of this woman who got married when she was 16. And she got her husband to join the army, hoping that he'd get killed so she could get all of his money. But then he hated the army and came home, and she was having an affair with two men, one of which was her son that she had through another marriage.
Ew.
And she had the two guys get her husband drunk. Then they chopped his body up and dropped him in the Thames River. And then his head got found. They put because this is the 1700s, they put his head on a spike in the middle of the town to see if anybody would recognize him. Someone recognized him. Then they put the two guys to death. And then since she had cheated on her husband, the penalty for cheating on your husband was they would put a metal collar around your neck and stake it to the ground and burn you alive.
What?
And that was the story I listened to last night before I fell asleep. And I was like, that's more fucked up than a modern true crime story.
And where was that at?
It was in England in like 1750.
Dang. The old metal collar.
The old metal collar. And so supposedly they said when a woman got caught cheating on her husband, that was like her penalty was death. So obviously not great times in the 1700s. But they would put a metal collar around your neck and set you on fire, but then they would tie a rope around your neck so that you didn't have to burn completely alive. They would like strangle you out before you actually burned to death. But the rope around her neck burned before they could pull it and strangle her. So she started screaming because she was burning. So someone threw a giant on fire log at her in hopes of killing her, and it smashed her head open. And in the newspaper article from the 1700s, it says her brains splashed around the square.
Jeez. Brutal.
No chill in the 1700s.
No chill. Well,
and the reality of the story, too, from the 1700s, the reality, too, is like she was 16. She was probably sold into marriage. The husband was probably terrible.
Yeah.
She was trying to figure any way to get out of the marriage. Like, who knows what happened back then?
Yeah.
So, probably not a lot of justification for getting someone drunk and then having two of your lovers chop up their body.
No, and then put them on a stick and then put somebody in a collar. And that just sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Really a lot. Was a lot that happened there. I read a tweet that said, nursing school really doesn't prepare you for the number of elderly patients who will casually confess to decades-old murders.
I saw that too.
Holy shit. Now, I have so many clients who are nurses or ambulance people. I'm going to ask fucking everybody now if that's ever happened to them. Like, you would have to, would you have to tell somebody, or is that HIPAA shit?
I don't know. Dang. I don't know. I mean, I know I've had two friends who, after their grandfathers passed away, they found like in the one friend's, I'm trying to not give away personal details in case, because they might actually listen, but I guess it doesn't matter. But in his one grandfather died, and then they found like ears in the grandfather's, like that he had taken off of Nazi soldiers. They'd cut their ears off.
Dang.
And then the other guy, it wasn't his grandfather, I think it was his uncle, had been in Vietnam, and they found fingers after his uncle died.
Every time I start a story, you just keep telling me about people who got cut apart.
I mean, I think it happens a lot.
Yeah.
You started off with a story about your new nephew who came from your sister-in-law getting cut apart.
Ew, not murdered.
No, but yeah, sliced the belly open or whatever. I don't know how any of that works. Is that what they do for C-sections? They cut your belly open?
Yeah, but they used to be like when like whatever back, I don't know when, but the C-section cuts used to be humongous, and now they're pretty tiny. They're probably like, I think they can do it as small as like 3 inches and just yank the baby out somehow, so it's not as bad. But yeah. I would rather do that than have them blow out my shit.
So is that what? So then babies who come out from C-sections don't have stork bites?
What is that?
When people have bumps on their head from knocking against the cervix when they're coming out as a baby, they'll get a bump in their head, and they call it a stork bite.
I never heard of that. I didn't. I don't know. That's gross. Well, I guess their baby was upside down for most of the time it was in there. So they were like, if it's going to be breachy, we have to take it out your belly. So they took it out. And it was like their due date was supposed to be August 20th, and it came, or 22nd or something, and it came early. On Friday the 13th.
Whatever. That just means that, I guess that's a solid Leo. I was going to say that baby could have been a Virgo.
Yeah, my cousin had a baby like a week and a half ago, too, and it's a Leo, too. So both of my little humans in my life are Leos now.
Yeah, I'm a cuspy Leo. Well, but I'm a Virgo. Leo? What?
Isn't Dana a Leo?
Yes.
Yeah, that means good people.
What about me?
You said cuspy.
I'm born on the day it changes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm born like an hour after it changes from Leo to Virgo, which is why I'm so fucked up. Because Leo is like super dominant and Virgo is super like passive. And so I'm constantly fighting myself.
Don't fight yourself, bro.
But then I have my second birthday in January.
What's your second birthday? Oh, yeah.
My death day.
Yeah, your death day. I was watching 90210 the last couple of days because that's all I do. And there was this guy that Kelly didn't like, and he said something, and like as her retort, she said, "Why don't you do the world a favor and call Dr. Kevorkian?" I was like, oh, like tie-in. That must have been like top news then or some shit.
Well, that was the problem. That's what people thought it was going to be. People thought you were going to be able to just call Jack and he would kill you. Like they didn't realize like that's not how it worked.
I mean, that should be how it works if you feel like it, but
I mean,
not just suicidal. I mean, if you're like terminal, is what I meant.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. If your quality of life is not quality.
Yes. Yeah, that was a burn. And then there was another part.
90210 getting very topical.
I know. Sometimes they do. I told you there was that one weird episode where they talked about the Kennedy assassination. It was fucking crazy. But there was this episode the other day where Brando was running away to get married in Vegas, and they went to stop her. And like all the girls were like, they're like unpacking, or I don't know what they were doing. And Kelly was like, I guess Vegas isn't what I thought it would be. And then Donna was like, what did you expect? And Kelly goes, I don't know, a lot of mobsters and hookers. Mobsters and hookers.
That goes right back to that idea of the people, and I think it still happens, it's just harder to see, but you can see it easier in 80s and 90s shows, that the people writing for teenagers were people who grew up in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, who says mobsters and hookers?
Right?
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, mobsters.
Like, there's an episode of Saved by the Bell where Casey Kasem shows up and the kids go wild. And I'm like, there's no 17-year-old who's going wild for Casey Kasem.
I literally wish that everybody knew how often we talk about this. This comes up once every 2 months, at least.
It's so funny. Or like you would watch a show like Saved by the Bell or Hang Time or 90210. And like a go-to Halloween costume is like a 1940s gangster and someone talking like, yeah, see, look, yeah. And I'm like, there's no 20-year-old in 1995 who is coming to a Halloween costume party thinking it's sweet to look like Jimmy Cagney.
It's funny that you say that because there is a Halloween 90210 episode and Brenda and Dylan go to the party as exactly what the fuck you just described. And he has like a Tommy gun and she has a beret on. They're in that exact outfit. But like on the episodes though, Dylan watches old movies and shit. So he probably would know and Brenda would just be like, yeah, whatever, Dylan, I'll wear whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But that episode's really good. Oh, I really wanted to bring up too, but this is like a circle back, but you were on, I think it was when you were on Bridget Marquardt's podcast. What the fuck is it called? Ghost
Magnet.
Ghost Magnet. There we go. And you talked about, you talked about the craziest fucking shit. You said that there are giant mushrooms under the state of Michigan, like literal dinosaur-sized mushrooms. And like, I'm like, my mind is blowing. I'm like, he's talking about this on somebody else's podcast. You come on our podcast and tell me you walked to the fucking bakery and you talk about giant mushrooms under Michigan on a different podcast. So I need you to talk about those now and tell me about them, please.
But I'm talking to you.
Well, I feel like you didn't go that into it on her shit. So I need you to, and then you guys were talking about how it makes people weird or makes shit weird. So just please tell me about it. And how you even know this, because I've never heard of this in my life.
So I was telling her, so in the UP, they were drilling core samples, like looking to see how old Upper Peninsula is. Because Michigan was covered during the Younger Dryas, which is the little ice age that happened like 20,000 years ago. Michigan was still covered in ice. That's why Michigan's so flat, because the ice pushed everything down. Michigan was under a mile of ice. So anyway, they were doing cores. Imagine that. Imagine being in like Ohio and there's a wall of ice in front of you that's a mile tall. And that's where Michigan was at.
I didn't know that.
That's crazy, right? Like crazy. A mile of ice. So anyway, after the ice receded, they were drilling core samples and they found that there was a type of fungus that was growing really, really far down underneath the permafrost and underneath the soil. And so they categorized it and like labeled it. And then when someone was looking through books, they were like, oh, we found this mushroom here in the UP. And then someone else was like, oh, we found the same type of mushroom here in like Traverse City in the lower part of Michigan. So they did samples on it and they realized it was the same mushroom and it was hundreds of miles in diameter. And it was growing beneath the state of Michigan. Then they started looking for it, and they found like 3 of them. And there are these huge underground fungus that live, and they spread out hundreds of miles in all directions, underneath lakes, underneath like cities. They're just down there living, doing something. And so I was talking about Michigan is so fucked up because we have Dogman stories and Bigfoot stories and UFO sightings and haunted places and like anything that's weird is in Michigan. And I had this idea that maybe everybody that's born and raised in Michigan or spends a long time here, we end up getting microdosed because these mushrooms are underneath the water table and we've been microdosed our whole lives. And so our brains are expanded a little bit into the weirder areas of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You forgot we also have melon heads.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like everything is here. Atomic Bigfoot, melon heads, the Nain Rouge, little creatures out in the woods, fairy lights, all that stuff.
Oh, it was funny too. When I called my brother on Thursday, I was like, what up, bro? And he was like, what's up, melon head?
Did he know the podcast?
Yeah, he listens to every episode when he's at work. He puts it on his headphones. He knows everything.
Well, that's good.
I know.
Now he knows that he's microdosed from giant mushroom that's underneath Michigan.
I want to look at them.
You can't see them. I mean, it's a fungal root.
Well, listen, it's so crazy too, because like if you think about it, Elon Musk is a fucking pothead weirdo, and he's spending all his money trying to go to space. And if he knew about this, he would be drilling under Michigan trying to find giant ass mushrooms.
That's the whole thing. Here's the thing I was thinking about today. I was sitting outside. This is a nature thing that you and I talk about sometimes. And it started to bum me out today because I was watching all the birds and I was looking at them eating their suet cake and sitting on my trees. And it was a nice, lovely little day. And I started thinking to myself, like if it wasn't for, I know that this is just a very top level way of thinking about things, but then I started to drill down on it and I started to get a little depressed. If it wasn't for like trees and insects and worms and birds, there'd be no humans. Why aren't we taking care of them?
Yeah, people don't care.
The only reason that there are humans is because that there was this biodiversity on the earth that made it possible for us to even exist.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're like, fuck it. Like it's depressing.
I know. Like, do you know how many like plants and trees like birds plant just from fun? They don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They drop shit everywhere.
Yeah. Just from their poops and stuff.
Yeah, on their little hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing stuff. And we're like, we don't care.
I had a weird thought the other day. It was actually when we got home from Saugatuck, because like I feel like this summer in particular, I'm like so drawn to outside. Every second I can, I sit on the back porch, and then we went on our trip, and like I don't know, just something about this summer or this something. And like it goes different years. Like some summers I'll be like, oh, I need to go kayaking, I need to do this, and then other summers I'll be like, meh, and I'll barely go outside. So it was like, do you think there's different years or phases or weird universe phases or anything like that that like makes us want to be outdoors more? Is that weird?
Is that a real thing when women's periods sync up when they're around each other?
Yeah.
So I think what has happened now is I think that like a lot of people on the planet have synced up because of COVID. And I think that we're all desiring nature, like a return to it. Like we've looked at the insides of our houses and our stuff so much that there's this longing to return to like the animals that we are, like be outside and hear sounds and see lights and smell fresh air and look at flowers and touch rocks and grass.
Yeah, I obviously thought of that. I'm like, personally, I didn't think it was from that. I'm like, yeah, I know I spent a lot of time in my house, but like I always do. I didn't think it was COVID related, but when you put it that way, like as a collective, everybody feeling very shut in and then wanting to be outside, I guess I could be kind of feeding off that energy, or it could be like a universal energy.
Yeah, I think I think that's many things, but I think that one of them is that so many of us have spent so much looking at walls and being inside that animal part of us that, I mean, you've seen animals that are kept in cages their whole lives. The first time that they see like the sun and they touch the grass, like they're really trepidatious, but then all of a sudden they go wild and like dogs zoom and like they stare at the sky and like they want to get back to what they know inherently is in them, which is to like be a free animal.
This is kind of doomy too, but we obviously talk a lot about like climate change and how the world is burning and all of that shit. So maybe it's like a subconscious thing too. Like I'm like, oh, better get out there while I fucking can. Maybe all of us are kind of doing that too, or maybe I just am.
No, I do that too. I mean, there might be a thing that's in us too that recognizes like when we walk around and look like, oh, things are on fire. There's not so many plants. There's not so much like maybe the inner workings of our brains are like, you better get back to nature because it's not going to be here much longer.
Yeah, totes. Yeah, something's been definitely drawing me to nature and like being outside, and like even if I'm just like doing something in the house, or I'm just like I'll walk out on the back porch and just take like a big deep breath and then like go back in. Like just something has been very naturey with me this summer. I don't know.
I think the thing that bums me out about that when I think about it though, the thing that is a bummer is knowing that there's like literally, I mean, I can and you can and people who listen, like we can all do small steps, but like there's nothing we can do for like the multi-billion-dollar corporations who don't give a fuck and like we're just going to keep making plastic and burning shit and destroying things because it makes us money, and there's nothing you can do about that.
I know, it's true. They've put like the pressure, the onus on us, and it's like 1% on us and 99% on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's literally like nothing you can do. You can, like I said, you can do your small baby steps. Like we can feed our animals and not consume a lot of material and product and waste a lot. But me not using a lot of electricity throughout the year isn't going to do anything for a multinational corporation that's like, oh, look, we can fly all of our CEOs on vacation for this place on this giant plane that just got built.
No, not one plane. They all get to go separate.
Oh, right.
On different planes.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, fuck all that. Let's not get I'm gonna really change the subject because was it you? Yeah.
Planet, thought to be dying. Go outside and pet your squirrels, folks. They're not going to be here for long. Give an extra peanut to your friend outside. If you see a skunk, say hello.
You sent me an article about a new restaurant by us called Noodletopia, and it has a robot server with a cartoon cat face.
We need to go.
Holy fuck. A robot cat waiter.
A robot cat delivers you food. Listen, I understand we're just talking about needless things that are making the world worse.
Oh yeah, we just did, yeah.
But I will go and see a robot cat waiter one time.
Okay, it's not like he runs on fucking diesel. Like, I think we're fine. He probably is charged by a USB port and he's like, fine.
I would love it if they could figure out how to just have a cat be a waiter.
I know, but then no, you can't use animals.
I know.
Well, they have a real cat walking around with like a bell on.
I was trying to think the other day because when we were talking, you were talking, well, this brings it up too because you don't want cats to have jobs. But I was trying to think about animals that do have jobs that like their jobs. Are there any animals that you can think of that do like their jobs?
All I can ever think of is like they have donkeys that move shit and pull people up mountains and maybe those goats that mow lawns like their job.
The only one that I could come up with was years ago, I was in the Lions Club International because I'm an old man. But the Lions Club International pays for seeing eye dogs.
Yeah.
And those dogs really seemed to love their job.
Well, I feel like those dogs never get to like let loose or like run around or be crazy. They're just always like, they have to be calm and they have to be like looking out for the person.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, they really seem to like, maybe it's just because they're trained to seem that way, but they seemed like they really wanted to help and they were really excited when they did something to help.
Yeah. Trying to think what else. Animals that like their jobs. I don't know. I can think of as the goats, really. Everything else is very unnecessary and shitty.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm sure that the monkeys at the zoo liked riding the Shetland ponies around during the monkey show.
True.
But they probably didn't like being trained to ride the ponies.
No. I was listening to Amy's podcast again the other day, Haunted Road, and she said, I want to ask if, I'm sure it's true because she said it, but she said that most cities have a black book, which is a record of any strange deaths that happened in that city. Is that true?
Well, Royal Oak doesn't keep any records of anything anymore.
No, nobody gives a fuck about our town or how old my house is or how old my apple tree is. But
newspapers used to keep in their morgue files. They used to keep strange death folders.
I want to get one of those.
So, but like I might have mentioned this on a previous podcast. Like when I was doing UFO research, the Detroit News and Detroit Free Press got bought out by larger news services and then dumped their morgue files. They got rid of all of them.
You did.
So, I mean, I'm sure the Detroit police knows about the Evangelista murders, the most oldest unsolved murders in Michigan. That's from 29. Like they still keep records of that because it's still considered an open case. Yeah. I would assume that major cities might have something like a black book for strange deaths and murders.
That made me really excited. I have a friend who's a funeral director. I wonder if they have like a weird thing. I'll have to ask.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're allowed to keep track of stuff like that.
I don't either. I still want to see the Evangelista stuff.
Yeah, I still want to know if they have how many of the giant paper mache puppet gods they still have.
They can't still be anywhere. They would take up too much room.
I think that I have photographs of some of those paper mache puppets in the 1960s. And so in the 1960s, they were still in a warehouse somewhere. Some of them were, like 3 of them out of the like 12.
There's got to be a way to find out.
I know. You have to go down to Detroit. We'd have to go to the Detroit police station, the main headquarters, and ask. For a while, they had all the Evangelista stuff that was found in like a cabinet when you first walked in on display.
Dang.
They had like Benny's business card and his bloody shirt and stuff like that.
What was the story again? He was a psychic?
He said he was a psychic and he was writing a new Bible, and he had moved from Pennsylvania where he was involved with like Pennsylvania hex magic. And then he came here and got married. And then one morning, somebody came over his house and they found his wife and all of his kids and him chopped up with an axe. And then they went in his basement and he had giant paper mache gods. And he would give people tours for like a nickel. And I think the family, I could be wrong about this, but I think that the family was so demolished by the axe murderer. I think that all 6 of them were buried in 3 coffins.
Yuck. And then there's theories that like all the national axe murders are connected, and that's one of them.
Yeah, that things like everything from like Lizzie Borden to Villisca to the axe murders in in New Orleans to the Evangelista murders, that like for 20 some odd years or more, all those axe murders are maybe the same person.
Like a train jumper or some shit.
A train jumper, and then if you look at the way that some of the axe murders line up with poisonings, which is how women tended to kill people in the turn of the century, it seems like maybe at a certain point the axe murderer got married and got his wife involved with it. So that might have been like America's first serial killer.
That's nuts. What was Evangelista his real last name? Because I know sometimes you write like evangelist. What's that about?
No, his name, so in the newspapers, they always refer to him as Benny Evangelist, but he was Italian originally. And so his name was Benjamino Evangelista. And in the newspapers, they would just write Benny Evangelist.
Yeah, that story's he doesn't have a headstone, does he?
No, they're not. They don't have a grave marking at all. And I think I might have talked about this too in the podcast. I was going to do like a Kickstarter to give them like a memorial headstone since they don't have one and one has never been put there. But then I started thinking about how many people would go and tromp around the cemetery and might do weird shit at their grave. And since he was like psychic and a witch and did magic, and like people might go there. I had that happen once in a cemetery. I used to train people to ghost hunt in a certain cemetery in Michigan. And I started writing about it online in like 1996. And then one of the last times I went there, like the graves, like it was super well known. I mean, it's 20 some odd years later. And it had become really well known for being a haunted cemetery. And some of the gravestones had been kicked over and there were pentagrams carved on the headstones and there was candle wax all over headstones. And I was like, if I would have known this was going to happen, I would have never said the location's name.
Yeah. People are dumb. And that was like before internet-y times, right? Or like before how it is now. Yeah.
I mean, I wrote the original articles that I wrote and talked about were all in the mid 90s. So it was like proto-internet, like Tripod and GeoCities websites, and everybody was on AOL chat. Mm-hmm. And then by the time the internet came around, my stories had been there for so long, they were getting copied on other ghosty websites that were looking for content. And then, by the mid 2000s, everybody knew that cemetery and people were going there and doing fucked up stuff.
Yeah. What was the one grave you took me to? That's the story on your Realm of the Weird with the cat?
Yeah, that's that cemetery.
That's the one?
Yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah.
I was scared that day.
Yeah.
I was scared.
It looked nicer. It looked like someone had been upkeeping it since then.
Who was that person?
The woman?
Yeah.
Eleanor. She was the tallest stone in the cemetery, and people would a woman in white standing by the stone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. We were out like thrifting, and you're like, "You want to see one of the places from my Realm of the Weird podcast?" I'm like, "Yes." And then we went there, and I'm like, I immediately regret this decision.
You know what's so funny is in the world of paranormal and conspiracy and UFO stuff, everybody has such like crazy stories. Like you can meet someone and be like, I've had a lot of people obviously over the past 30 years who have been like, yeah, I might believe that story, but it's probably bullshit, but it's still a good story. It's so funny when people realize like, oh, that's a real fucking place, or oh, that guy was there too, and or like when people back up my stories and then other people will realize like, oh fuck, Tenny's telling us the truth about this insane nonsense.
Well, they should believe everything that you say anyway, Because you're not
I'm
hired.
saying, like, people for years now have been like, you didn't really eat at a diner that disappeared, which is in a Realm of the Weird. If people want to listen to Realm of the Weird, it's called The Neighborhood. But people are like, you didn't really eat at a diner that disappeared. And after I posted that episode, people went to the hotel that I stayed at, found the desk clerk that I talked to. The desk clerk remembered me telling him the story in the moment while it was happening. And then people were like, oh shit, that was a real fucking story.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm like, yeah, not everything is bullshit.
I know.
I mean,
you are full of shit, but you're not.
Well, yes.
Well, yeah, so am I. I'm a big garbage monster.
Flash. Giant garbage monster does podcast.
Oh, breaking news. Why am I Italian in mine? I can't do it. I can't do the voice.
Beep, 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 beep. Mario from the video game starts news podcast. You're like a tired Italian vampire.
That's just my brand all the time.
Meh.
I need some pasta. What was I gonna say? We're gonna do an event soon. Breaking news. The lady who's running it DM'd me to get pictures of us, so she's gonna announce it tonight, I think so.
Oh shit.
So if anybody's going to Midwest Parafest in Toledo, oh guess what? We're gonna be there. And I think we're both talking. I think we're both talking. What am I gonna say?
We're both talking? You're not allowed to talk.
She wants me to.
Well, what are you gonna talk about?
I don't fucking know.
You better put together a solid hour of entertaining stuff.
Oh, brother.
Well, brother, you booked me a couple events, didn't you?
Yeah, we're doing another one at the University of Wisconsin. I don't know if that one's open to the public, though. Well, one of them is like a student lecture, and then I think the night one is going to be ticketed to the public. But I'm not really sure yet. And then, what else are we doing? Michigan Paracon next week.
Am I supposed to do stand-up comedy at that one?
No, listen, I think that one you do your day lecture by yourself, and then the night one we do together and be funny. Quote, unquote, be funny. What are we going to say? That'll be fine. We can talk about our whole Milwaukee trip to them.
We'll get an overhead projector to hook to your phone, and you can just show videos of the skunk.
Yes. No, we'll show videos of us at the UFO bar.
No.
I don't know what we'll do. We'll think about it. We're just going to get drunk and talk.
So I've got Michigan Paracon, Midwest Parafest, that college one in Wisconsin, the UFO convention.
Yeah, that's out of order. Midwest Parafest is September 18th. UFO Contact.
Yes.
In Houghton Lake is September 25th, I think. And then the Wisconsin thing is October 1st and 2nd. And
then we have to go to Chicago for a convention that we're not going to be at, but Richard Dreyfuss is going to be there with Billy Zane.
Yes. I'm going to cry. I already thought about it in my head meeting Hooper, and I'm going to cry. And I was thinking, I'm like, I should buy the shirt from What About Bob where he says, don't hassle me, I'm local, and then take a picture next to Dr. Leo Marvin. I'm like, do I do that, or do I do a Jaws thing?
Should I contact them and try and get me a guest spot there as a guest? And then we can hang out in the green room with Billy Zane and
Yes. I'm going to full on get drunk and hit on Billy Zane. I already know it.
He's married.
I don't give a fuck, Jenny. Oh, fine. We don't know that he's married.
I think he's married.
I think whatever. I'll find out. And if he's not,
why don't you hit on Richard Dreyfuss?
Maybe I will.
Maybe you will.
Maybe I'll be a sugar baby.
Sugar baby? What's a sugar baby?
Someone who is kept by a sugar daddy.
Is that still a thing?
Fuck yeah, it is. Aren't you on Twitter ever? They're all over the place.
No, I'm not, I guess.
You are. You tweet more than I do.
So I could be someone's sugar daddy?
Yes. Do you know how many DMs I get that say, let me send you money, give me feet pics and I'll send you money?
Do you do it?
No, I don't fucking do it. I have a job.
For your pictures of your fucking feet?
I don't care. I know people who do it. Listen, I know people who do it, and good for them. I would do it. I don't fucking know. Okay. The thing is, though, you have to have like a VPN, and you have to protect yourself, and you have to get them to pay you on a secure thing. And I'm not smart enough to settle that up, so I don't want them to like Venmo me or Cash App me on my real shit, and then they'll know. I don't fucking know. I'm just not good at it. But I respect the fuck out of a hustle, and I am proud of anybody that does do that shit. I know people who sell their underwear. I know people who sell whatever the fuck. Get that money.
Jeez.
It's good. That's great. That's the fucking economy. Get that
I like
shit.
I like being in my old man world where stuff like that is just pretend.
It's not pretend. It's good. Dude, if you didn't know whatever the fuck, you would do it. If you didn't know if nobody would find out about it, you could do it.
If no one would find out about what would I do?
I literally guarantee people would buy like the shirt off your back.
Ugh, gross.
They would. 100% they would.
Gross.
They would. You've sold your ties on eBay before, bro?
Yeah, but those were because they were on TV.
Yeah, okay. It's not because somebody wanted to smell your neck.
Newsflash!
My face just got so hot. I'm dead.
Newsflash, new cologne, Tenny neck smell.
Oh my God, we would sell so much. Oh my God, no, that reminds me.
Scent drawn directly from his freshly squozen ties.
I had a moment just like that. My fucking client today, she was trying to show me a picture on her phone, and she opens her photo reel thing, and I always try not to look because I don't know what people got on their phone, and she opens it, and there's like 8 pictures in a row of like fresh corn on the cob, like really fucking close up, and I glance over and I go, why do you have so much fucking corn on your phone? And we both started laughing so hard, we were like cackling, and she's like, you don't understand. She's like, my friend brought me all this corn, and it was the best corn I ever had. Oh my God.
I was at Gus's once. This is obviously years ago before COVID. And the guy next to me was trying to show his friend some photo. And he opened up his photos, and I glanced over and looked. And it was literally nothing but pictures of, I can only assume, his penis.
No.
Like he had to scroll through like 3 pages of the same penis over and over again.
I mean, you have to take multiple shots so it looks cool. You do it.
Wait, how you have to take a lot of shots if you want it to not look like a malformed thumb.
Yes, literally. You have to have good lighting, and it can't be too fucking bright. People send full fucking light nudes. No, absolutely not.
All greased up.
Absolutely not. Nope. Nobody. Nope. No.
How come people don't send asshole pics?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, they probably do.
I literally know they do. You've seen them on Twitter.
That's true.
I know. Oh, good times. Great times. 2021 butthole pics.
Butthole pics and neck smell.
Neck smell. Just bottle that shit up. We're going to be at Paracon selling paranormal goods and neck smell samples. And I guess I'll have feet pics since you think I need those. This is going to get us in trouble.
Maybe.
I can't believe Paracon is next week already, dude.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
We've been on so many trips. And then I just planned us like fucking 4 more. Whoops.
I think that's probably it for the year, though.
I know. I think so, too.
Yeah.
We keep saying that. Well, we'll have some events in Michigan, though, for Halloween. We always have little things.
Yeah, and a What's Up Weirdo event.
Yeah, we'll have a What's Up Weirdo event for regulars and for Patreons. Oh, I sent out our Patreon mail today. So if you're a Patreon in the tier that gets snail mail, you're getting something in the mail soon. I sent them all today. I hand addressed all of them myself. And I tracked everybody down for their addresses, which was not easy, but...
You could have just put a note in the comments that said, everybody please fill in your address.
Yeah, I literally sent you can highlight who you need to send it to, and I sent everybody a DM and how to do it, and then fucking like 40% of people answered, so I independently emailed everybody, and then when I got like 30 more percent, I DM'd everybody on other social platforms and stalked their asses for their addresses. So I got them all. And I went to the post office today, and that same lady that's always there was there. And never mind, I'll tell you later.
All right.
I got Oak House Deli today.
You got Oak House Deli today?
Yeah.
Where's mine?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm done.
No, stop.
I'm all done.
No, stop.
I'm all done.
Stop.
I'm all done.
I'll give you some soon. I was just on my way home from work and I needed to go home and eat. I was starving. I was at work.
I'm all done.
Shut up.
I'm all done.
Okay, where's my fucking chili dog with tater tots that you ate for dinner? You didn't make
I'll bring you some over right now.
Oh yeah, I bet. No.
Yep, I will.
No.
Yep.
Anyway, stop. Old Tanya Roasting sent us some more coffee today, so I have to bring you your coffee bag, and I got coffee bag.
You could have brought me coffee and a sandwich.
You could get your own sandwich.
Thanks a lot, friend.
You know what? I can't buy you a dinner. Every time I buy myself dinner, I have no money left.
I'm done.
Stop being a grouch. Dude, Bachelor in Paradise was so good last night. You should have really watched it.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
It's on Hulu. Can you watch it?
I don't have Hulu.
You ducked out on Bachelor a long time ago and you never watch it with me anymore.
The ending of Bachelor was great.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, on our Saugatuck trip, we watched the finale of Bachelor and it was so satisfying.
It was really good.
They're not going to stay together. There's no way.
No way.
No way.
No way. I'll find a way to watch the Bachelor in Paradise.
I'll send you a link. You have to watch it. It was really good. It's going to be messy. And then we're going to another advanced screening next week, a secret. And we'll have an advanced review, spoiler-free review of a new horror movie. And we're going on Tanny's birthday.
All right.
I finally get to give you the present that me and Robin got you like 3 months ago.
I'm all right. It's past my birthday already.
No. I know you round up and whatever you tried to explain to us, but no.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone it's my birthday.
I literally already told everybody in our Patreon video to bring you presents to Paracon.
Oh. Now I'm going to have to let everybody smell my neck.
No, that's going to be a Patreon tier. Patreon tier only smell Tenny's neck.
Once a year, you get to smell my neck and look at your feet.
Oh man, that'll have to be like $100 a month. I do have pretty feet though, so fuck it.
They're not that great.
You're such a goddamn liar. You're a liar.
I have pretty good feet, even with my smashed,
nice feet.
Even though with my smashed mushroom toe.
This is getting weird. And you said another fucking person today asked if we were dating. We are not dating. We've never dated ever once, ever.
No.
Everybody calm down. That makes me sad. It's like, don't y'all have any kind of rapport with your fucking best friends? Like, do you not get along? Either you fuck people or you're not friends. Like, don't you know what friends are?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't either. You're my best friend. And then Mark, my other best friend for over 20 years is a guy and we've never dated or done anything ever. He's just my homie. Like, do you have fucking homies? What's wrong with people? I only want to talk to you if I fucking hate you.
Yep. Yep. Perfect.
Perfect. Remember on the trip, you said something shitty about taking you around to places, and you also said, I forget how it was, but you made fun of me and talked about me driving you places at the same time. And I was like, did you just roll using me for my car and a burn into one thing? And you're like, yes, I did. Whatever, man. You don't use me for my car. You just use me for my car and for vegan Sammys.
Well, the vegan Sammys is obviously not working out very well.
No. You failed on that one today.
Yeah. And then if I have to go to the bank, I got to make like an appointment 2 weeks in advance for you to take me to the bank.
Brother. Sorry, I have a job. Sorry.
I'm retired. I'm an old man.
Whatever, you're not retired. We're going to go do
You're supposed to take care of me in my old age.
Okay, I'm fucking trying. Oh, remember when we had 2 dinners the other day? That was another fucking, yeah, you tell me to bring you food. I literally brought you food the other day, and when I showed up, you already had food. And then we decided to have both dinners at the same time. And I feel like that should be a new thing for us. Like, we should just get 2 different dinners that aren't alike and eat them at the same time, like a feast.
I was watching, you talk about people who are dating and stuff. I was watching a YouTube video today, and it was a guy and his wife, and I can't remember what it was. He was doing some challenge where he was only eating beans for like 40 days.
Ew.
And they were sitting at the dinner table, and the wife was like, I kind of like us not eating the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just get whatever you want.
And then he got all offended, and he was like, what's that mean? You don't like eating with me? She's like, no, I like eating with you, but I don't always want to eat what you want to eat.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to eat what the other person wants to eat.
I feel like that's another mark against having to be around someone and being married in a terrible, loveless marriage.
I know. Oh, that was the other thing. The other part of that tweet earlier was like how many people confess to murders on their deathbed or whatever the fuck, and then somebody else tweeted under it. They're like, yeah, or how many people confess to being in a lifelong loveless marriage and have been miserable. I'm like, dang. That's so sad. Fuck that. Fuck that. Is that it?
I think so.
That was another roller coaster of like, yay, sad, yay, doom, yay, sad. Sock Dog Lady is working on Bean, and she made his little ears, and she sent me a picture of his little ears. I don't know if she's going to have it ready by Paracon. I told her not to rush. I'm like, I would rather have it look perfect than like rushed. So
right.
We'll see. But I'm excited about that.
No, we'll do bird Patreons next week.
Oh yeah, we have new pates, so we'll give we're building up more names so we can give every a bird. So don't think that we forgot about you. And if you didn't get a bird yet, DM me on Instagram or wherever. Our Instagram is at WUW Pod. What's up, Weirdo Pod? WUW Pod on Instagram. Woo Pod. I know I say it in my head. I'm like, Woo Pod. I hope people say it like that. In my head. And then, yeah, Patreons are getting the shit in the mail. Me and you are going to Paracon next week. I feel like we're forgetting something.
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Go suck a ring pop.
Good talk, stupid. Bye.